No, Jamie, I do feel bad because I haven't seen you have a bite of your pizza since we started. Because the fun thing is we ask a question and then we get to sit back and chow away while you're.
And corn too. You can't forget about the corn.
Yeah. So I mean, if you need to take a bite while we explain this, go for it. But this is just going to be a couple questions from Andrew and I. First thing that pops to your head. We could always circle back around and talk about something. Let's try and see how quick we can stump you on some stuff. Kim has no idea what we're going to ask you. Half the time she doesn't know what's really going to come out of our mouths at a convention, so this is no different than that. All right, so are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, now some of this is going to be stuff related to education. Some of it could be because, well, we know you, we've hung out with you, or about your home state.
Ready to go.
All right. I'm going to start right off with this. What's your favorite bourbon?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll tell you. Can I give a long answer?
Sure.
I hate favorite questions. These always stump me online. What's your favorite book? What's your favorite this? Sure. If right on the other side of me right here is a wall of about 100 different bourbon bottles that are all empty. I don't collect full bourbon bottles. I usually buy one I've never had. But my go-to probably that I have more often is probably the Buffalo Trace Blanton's. I'm a big fan of Blanton's, and that Blanton's is a harder to find bourbon, but it's definitely a very unique flavored bourbon, very easy to drink, and converted a lot of people to some good Blanton's. So Buffalo Trace Blanton's, if I had to give an answer.
Well, you've converted one particular friend of ours.
Exactly.
Well, now I got to get rid of all my questions because these are all, what's your favorite? So now,
yeah, I'm done, man.
All right. So if you could eliminate one thing from your daily schedule, what would it be and why?
Oh, gosh. I wear a lot of different hats, but like they all kind of mingle together. The one thing that it's maybe it's a scape out answer, but being at home all the time, I'm used to traveling and being on the go. So if I can eliminate being home all the time, but with COVID, obviously, that's changed. But I always felt like that was a good, travel can get old, but the good thing is being here and having executive director and ETR and Shape America. You are able to balance all those things out because you're not on the go as much. But I certainly miss travel, so I appreciate the balance that COVID's given, but I also miss some things about it too.
Okay, now I may mess the name up here, but what is Burgoo?
That's good. That's good research. It's a type of, traditional was a game stew. So on the early frontier, it was a lot of game meat was in Burgoo. So it was a soup that they would make in the frontier life. And so it's very Kentucky. We were part of the first westward expansion early on. So Burgoo is a big Kentucky tradition, and they have it at the horse tracks. But it traditionally was a game stew that was from long, long ago.
I have no words. I have 0 words. How in the world did you even find or think of that? What? I have Keith Kramer to you. How did you even come up with that question?
Listen, last week you called Andrew and I what was the word, Andrew? Stalkers.
Yeah. You made it sound real good. Yeah.
Okay, when you know that you have a guest coming on
research
state, okay, why not highlight the state a little bit? But at the same point,
I'm impressed
to see what they know, who they know, and cyber stalking.
So Kim, it's clear that you're going to have to start putting a little more time in on these shows and preparing because your two co-hosts here are really setting the bar high.
I let them go get the dirty work,
All right, so I know this is going to be a tough one for you, Jamie, but better overall basketball program, Duke, Kentucky, or UNC? I'll let you have a moment to think about it.
Yeah, does this not counting this year? I'm not. Normally this time of year we're talking a lot of smack, but we got our head between our tails this year. But
I said overall. overall.
Oh yeah, I think that I'm a data guy, so it's not even a conversation. All-time win in this program speaks for itself. Most national championships outside of UCLA, the most draft picks playing in the NBA right now. So no matter how you splice the data, it comes back to the Wildcats.
Oh, wow.
And we're usually in Shape America on the national convention because there are so many times that the games have been on.
Yeah.
You have run out to make sure that you're watching Kentucky play.
And now I'm a Wildcats fan too, but it's Villanova. Wow.
Villanova's had some good runs lately.
Oh, that was a great year at that Shape America in Minnesota when they won at the Bell. Remember that, Villanova?
Yeah. They won two recently, right? They won two.
Yeah, they won two.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, I'm like you. I mean, my state where I come from, we don't have any pro teams like y'all. You don't have any pro teams either, so we have to hang our hats on like UConn. And then outside of UConn, we have Yale, and we know that they can't go any further than the Ivy League championship. So, that's all they can.
For the record, we do have a pro team now. We have the new women's pro expansion team. So we're getting women's pro soccer as our first professional team. So I'll give a little plug for our summer conference because we're hosting a summer conference in July, the second or third week. We're still working on dates, and we're actually going to use the new Louisville Soccer Stadium to do that. So we're really excited about that. But so we're at least on the radar some way right now.
That's awesome.
That is good. We're still trying to bring the Whalers back. So now this could be, just think of this one easy. Most famous person you've met.
Ooh.
Other than the three of us.
Oh, gosh. It would easily have to be, I'm looking at the picture now, Bill Clinton. Yeah, I got an opportunity to do some work for the Clinton Foundation a number of years ago. Obviously, they were very heavily involved early on with Alliance for a Healthier Generation when it first started. And then I got to do some work with Jessica Lawrence out in California for the Clinton Health Matters event, and President Clinton came around to the tent. So Lisa Perry and I, we led. Lisa still works for the Alliance, and her and I were leading the fitness activities in the tent. And he came around and introduced everybody. And in fact, I'll make it even a cooler story. I was a volunteer, right? Showed up, did the thing. But so the staff had everything planned, and so they were like, "Oh, you've done such a great job. We appreciate your help." I was like, "Oh, it's an honor to do it." And so they were like, "Well, we didn't actually order you anything as a thank you. Well, we ordered stuff for all the other people that were like paid people there." And I was like, "Oh, I don't expect anything. No big deal." I was like, "Well, if there's anything left over, we'll see what we have once the kind of event clears out the last day." So they bring me the jacket that was actually intended for President Clinton. He left the night early. And so the jacket that was ordered for him was the jacket that I got. Unfortunately, there's a sad part of this story. I was traveling 2 or 3 years later, and I left it in the airport, and I've never seen it again. But that one always made for a really cool story. But yeah,
You are
famous person.
You get so much swag. You get everywhere you go. You get swag, Jamie.
Well, I mean, I don't have a Kim shirt yet, so I'm still waiting on that. But
that's not famous. That is. I don't get that.
We're going to change that, though, I think.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sure the boys will hook you up for sure.
And we sure will. Jamie, what book are you currently reading?
Oh, the better question would be, what was the last book you read? And I wouldn't know the answer to that one either. I've done a lot of things during COVID. Picking up reading has not been. I was trying to think. I think the last book I read right before COVID was the 50 Greatest Myths of Public Education. And it was a book that Tom Lowry from Missouri sent me, a very eye-opening research book for public educators. That's probably still on my shelf. But that's a great book as far as, because in the public health, we see this conversation so much with school choice and charter schools and private schools, but the American public education system is an amazing system. We educate all kids everywhere. And so it really lays out how strong that foundation is and how much the American public education system is a part of our democracy and the role it plays. So that was a great book.
Awesome.
So I've got two more for you, and I'm going to give you an easy one first before I hit you with the tough one. And let's just—I know you said you hate favorites, but what is the coolest setting that you've been in for a PE conference?
Oh, the coolest for a PE conference has to be Maui. When I was involved with the Let's Move Active Schools, of course, we did the largest PAL training, physical activity leader training in Charlotte. But I got to go to Carrie Sheff, and I got to go to there was a number of trainers, but Carrie and I definitely got to go to the most places. So Hawaii, I was very fortunate to do my first ever keynote in Hawaii. So that was my first state keynote. And I went there and also did a PAL training on Maui. And so that was definitely a really cool. And Hawaiian, oh my gosh, like Hawaii, Aford, like people, we're all in the South, and people talk about Southern hospitality. Southern people are not nice compared to Hawaiian, man, and they're just the most genuine people in the world, and just so hospitable. And it was a pretty cool place to be.
Very cool.
All right. So is this my last question? Kramer, you have no more? You're done?
I have one more, and we'll end it with mine because I've got a good one.
All right.
It makes me nervous now. That's what he's trying to lead up to.
All right, so this one is going to make you think for a moment. So what's a holiday that doesn't exist? Okay. Holiday that does not exist that you would like to create.
Oh, wow. This is like a writing prompt, like back in school.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I'll help you. Because you have this all over your social media. I think it's part of your profile page. Kindness Week.
Yeah, I was thinking Health Moves Minds Day, right? Like, since we could do it. We have some different ones we tie onto. We have Random Acts of Kindness Week. We have World Kindness Day that we kind of connected to. But yeah, Health Moves Minds definitely deserves its own holiday. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, so now this is it. This is going to be the top question here. It is a favorite question. Now, there's two things that are important to me: pizza, good pizza, and conversation. And this: who's your favorite Princess Bride character?
This is where I would phone a friend because I wouldn't even know where to start.
I mean, even if you just said Andre the Giant because he played Vicini, and I mean, how many movies have Andre the Giant in it?
Andrew the Giant. Well, I would definitely go with that.
Well, Jamie, Keith, and Andrew, you just name any movie, and they're going to just spit off like lines from the movie. I don't know how their brain capacity holds on to movie lyrics, but they do. So if you ever need to phone a friend for any kind of movie trivia, it's Keith and Andrew. So you see how my daily, work conversations, go.
Yeah.
It's either some line from The Office, some movie line, but and I just look at them like, how do you even know this? How do you even know this stuff? But
yeah, I'm pretty movie illiterate and music illiterate. I can't remember song titles, names. Like once I see it and hear it, or the movie the same way. But Jess was very disappointed in me recently, and I had to watch Napoleon Dynamite because there's all these pulp culture references, and I never saw that movie. So that tells you where my movie literacy is.
Well,
Sounds like
so I guess we can't play Name That Tune with you.
No, yeah. I think New Jersey Aford did when they're virtual social, they did a game where it was like Name That Tune, and I won no prizes.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know that I don't want to take up any more of your time, but we really appreciate you being genuine with your conversations with us, answering the questions very, clear, and you give me a lot of things to think about, as always, with our conversations that we have. But I really thank you for all your work that you're doing to advance health and PE, for quality health and PE and movement-based school cultures, and your work with Health Moves Minds, and the work that you're doing with ETR. I mean, you're just one of those seriously rock stars in our profession that I can't thank you enough for what you do for all school districts and for kids.
You're welcome. Thank you all for what you're doing, and appreciate all that you've done and continue to do. And, one thing we didn't mention in this whole show is is we're through my work with ETR and you all, we're bringing B3 to the world very soon. So bigger things to come from everybody on this screen and our different roles and seeing that come to fruition too. So fun stuff. Thank you all. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, no problem. Well, one of those things where you've always been told early, surround yourself with good people. And it's so funny how huge our profession is, but really collectively, when we go to these conferences, just how much that you surround yourself with like-minded people, that's really what it takes, is for those collective efforts to push for quality health and PE, like you mentioned at Speak Out Day and so forth. So thank you. It's a big world, but a small world when it comes to all these people doing what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you all. Take care.